Hi, I've got a question for you. Are you selfish enough to achieve all your goals? And I know that sounds crazy on the surface, but inside this episode, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make the case for you, the argument for you, why every advisor needs to be a little bit more selfish to go ahead and achieve their goals inside of their career. So, now why do I bring this up? In my work with advisors for 27 years, there's been a couple things that I've noticed that are pretty universal, if you will. Number one is that we're all pulling many different directions. I think that's a given, right? Number two, if you're in this game, chances are you also are here because you like people, you want to contribute, you want to serve, maybe you have a calling. I've talked to several of you about that, and these are all great, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. However, if your approach to the business is where you're putting yourself last, and I'll explain what that means in a moment, and everybody else is in front of you, it is virtually impossible to happily achieve what you want. Now, I didn't say you wouldn't achieve it. It's just going to suck. Here's why. If you really think about it, all of us are what I call our own economic engines, right? This is a personal brand business where it's really about some of you I know run, multi-billion dollar operations. I coach several of you. And so we have these brands, right? And we have partners and other advisors. But at the end of the day, you're the CEO, you're the leader, right? So ultimately, you're still the hub of the wheel, right? All the way around. And when you're pulling a lot of different directions and you're putting everybody else first, you're just making these massive withdrawals out of your emotional bank, right? Out of your energy bank. And we're not really making any deposits or not at the rate that we're making withdrawals. And at some point, you're going to overdraft yourself, right? And that's when you get burnt out. That's when you start having these thoughts of, I wonder what else I could do with my life. Or you have these visions of like doing something totally different. And we've all been down that road where, I think the typical entrepreneur, which is what we all are, I think we quit our businesses at least a couple times a year, right? I almost think that's part of the conversation, part of the DNA, if you will. And I think what happens is, and if you think about what do you need to elevate? Like I want you to think about this, like to go from this level of success to this level of success, right? Just a step up. It really requires three things. There's multiple other things, but the three core pieces are going to be your mental energy, right? So how we think, how we problem solve, right? How we go ahead and we think about the future, we plan, we strategize, we vision, right? Our emotional energy, which is what do we put into people, right? So conversations with ourselves, conversations with our teams, partners, clients. You're not just sitting there going through the motions. You're engaged at a high level. That requires mental and emotional energy. Third one's physical energy. Like if you're just exhausted if you're waking up exhausted and you're too tired to work out, you're too tired at the end of the day to engage with your family. You're too tired in the afternoon to really to operate at a high level, right? Those are signs. So three things, right? Mental, emotional, and physical energy. So the only way you cultivate those things, those three things, is that you've got to make time for yourself. You got to make time for yourself every day. And then throughout your career, you've got to have windows where you focus on you. And for a lot of advisors, this is interesting when I do my work, and I'm not going to get into names because all my work is confidential. But a typical situation will be there's an advisor who's very successful economically. In fact, I have a new one now. I'll tell their story in a very kind of generic way. 20 some odd years in the business, successful, economically successful. They really at this point in their career should be like reaping massive rewards. Now they're reaping massive economic rewards, but they're burnt out, they're not happy, they're fried, they're overwhelmed, they're frustrated. They never get everything done. Ah, that's interesting, right? So tell me how we got here. And then I start breaking down their day, and then I start breaking down their approach to their day. And it's right there. It's like it's almost like immutable. Everybody else is first. Clients are first, teams first, families first. I'm last. Give, give, give. No deposits. And this person, because they're very driven, very committed, right? And here's how it sounds, by the way. Man, I got to get some time off once I get caught up. You and I both know that. Look, if your concept is when I get caught up, I will then get some downtime, you'll never gonna get any downtime because nobody's caught up. There's always the next project. There's always the next thing we can do for a client. That's just a fallacy. I'll take care of me when I get caught up, or I'll take care of me when I hit this level of success, or at this, right? You start horse trading with yourself to justify it. And the interesting part is you're all smart enough to know you're doing it. So this is not like, oh man, I didn't know I'm doing it. Of course you know you're doing it. You're smart. You just justify it. Now, why do you justify it? Fear, insecurity. Our industry is stoked with insecurities. Now, what do I mean by insecurities? Well, think about this. I know some of you don't, but think about it anyway. What is your relationship with your clients? Are you on like 5-year contracts, auto renewed? No, it's an at will relationship, right? The reality is you can get fired anytime. Boom. All your clients could ACAT out today. That's not going to happen, right? But it could. I've built my business like you've built your business. My coaching work is month to month. I want to sit in the same seat you sit in. I know that every time I have a conversation with one of my clients or I'm taking care of my tribe and Magellan Network, I've got to bring my A game, my double A game, each and every time. The only way that I can bring my A game is if I take care of myself first. Why? What's the A game require? Mental, emotional, and physical energy. Period. And if you can't cultivate that, and that's the only way you can cultivate it, by the way, is taking time for yourself, being selfish. At some point, you don't quit, but you just go through the motions. Your goal is to get through the day, not drive the day. Here are the warning signs. You're not working out. You have no morning ritual. You're waking up exhausted. Your goal in the morning is to get through the day. And then for some of you, unfortunately, you're also trying to self-medicate and escape with alcohol, drugs, overeating, whatever, to kind of, numb the pain, in essence. That's what it looks like. Go home at night after you kind of just showed up and have a couple cocktails, eat, and fall asleep on the couch by 7:30, 8 o'clock. And wake up exhausted the next day. And there's a lot of that going on. Because let's face it, in COVID world, where are you getting the vacations? And that's a challenge. And look, the serious challenge in our industry right now, as people ask me this when I'm interviewed, we have burnout. And I know people say, well, how can we have burnout? Like labor is working from home and because nobody's getting away from the business. It's like Groundhog's Day. We're just in it every day. Is it Saturday? Is it Sunday? Is it Tuesday? I'm not sure. And you know what? And I fell into this earlier this year, where I wanted to be there for my clients. Again, I'm here to serve. I'm contribution oriented. So literally from like March 15th to like June 15th, I mean, it was like 24/7, 365. I mean, it just was. I was talking to clients on Saturdays, pushing stuff out Sundays, right? Just trying to understand it, trying to come up with strategies. What are the pivots we need to make? All that. And then, at some point I just woke up one day and said, man, like I woke up exhausted. I was like, okay, it's time. Like, and what happened was I stopped putting myself first because I was in crisis management mode. And then at the end of June, I took a couple days off. Actually, went somewhere, went to a resort, stayed in a room, secluded myself with my wife, my business partner, and about maybe 36 hours, I started feeling different. I started feeling better, like energized. And I said, I pushed too hard. I didn't take care of myself. In that moment, I made a decision that every couple of weeks I was going to take 2 days. So what I do twice a month, 48-hour windows. I shut it down. I go somewhere, especially because I work on my house. I have for many, many decades. And I go somewhere. Now, I'm not selfish. I take my business partner wife with me. So we're cool. We have a good time. We get away from everything. And it serves me both personally and professionally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Now, I can sit there and justify 1,000 reasons why I shouldn't do that. I got more work to do. I got to get ready for business planning. I've got a second book I want to write. Like I can put all the reasons why I got other things. I want to go do my landscaping outside. I got a home reno going on right now, whole house reno going on right now. And I can give you all the reasons why I shouldn't do it. But you know what? It has to happen. If you don't start taking care of yourself first, I'm not saying you're not going to make money. So hear me out. This is not about, well, you won't make money, you won't be successful. No, I'm not saying that. You'll push through it. That's what this industry does. It pushes through. It's going to suck. You're not going to enjoy the process. You're going to want to check out from time to time. You'll be an okay advisor for your clients. You're not going to be a great leader for your team. But you're going to make some money. My challenge to you, what I submit to you today in this episode, become more selfish. Number one, you'll make more money faster. You'll be a much better leader. You'll be a much better advisor. And quite frankly, you'll be a better human being. You know why? You'll be in a good positive state. You're taking care of number one. Last thing. If you think about, like I haven't flown in a year, but I've flown enough. When they talk about oxygen deployment mask, what do they always say? What's the protocol? Hey, when they come down, run around the plane. Hey, make sure you put it on everybody around you, right? No. What do they tell you? You first. Then help others. That is exactly what we need to do here. You first. Then help others. Ultimately, it's about being sustainable and successful and satisfied and happy, right? And in a good place. This industry, this profession that you've chosen to be an advisor, you can really have your cake and eat it too. I have hundreds of clients who've done that. So it's not a question of, well, is it possible? I know it's possible. I know for a fact it's possible. But you got to stop and, start thinking about things. And I know some of you younger advisors tend to go, well, Joe, I'm just starting out. I said, look, I understand that. So I'm not saying, hey, you can go 8 weeks off a year and in year 2 and go do that. I'm not saying you can do that. I know I didn't. But you still got to get your days here and there. And I'll say it this way, guilt-free. Like give yourself permission. It's like an athlete. One more tangent, then we'll get out of here. It's like an athlete. Athletes can overtrain. And I don't care what athlete you are. It doesn't matter what sport, what discipline, it's irrelevant. They shut down, right? And I'll just use LeBron James. Does he play in every game at this point in his career? No. He shuts it down. Saves himself. Recuperates, right? Refreshes himself. Does Tiger Woods in every golf tournament? No, right? Athletes know that even though they're compensated very well, they need to take care of themselves. And if you listen to them, they always talk about my body, I've got to rest, I've got to take care of me. Like they understand. And I know it sounds selfish today. I understand it differently than maybe the rest of the world does, the media does. I understand why they talk the way they do or think the way they do, because they understand they need to be selfish for longevity, for success. Well, same thing here, man. You got to shut it down. You got to take your renewal days. You've got to have time every day in the morning to put you first. The most important time of the day is the first hour of the day, and that needs to be your hour. That needs to be your hour to do your morning ritual. We call it Magellan Morning 8 in our tribe. To take care of you so you're at your best. And then take your renewal days. Even though you may not go anywhere, or what I recommend, quite frankly, is like a staycation. If you're working out of your house now, even if you're not, change the scenery, right? This is the strategy I tell all my clients. Go find a local happy place, somewhere within an hour, 2-hour drive. Somewhere that you feel comfortable, that you feel safe, right? We don't want to be stressed out, in our environments these days. And I don't care if you lock yourself in a hotel room and binge Netflix and order room service for a couple days. That works for you? Totally cool with it. Change of scenery is important, okay? So remember, being selfish in this business for the right reasons is an attribute of success. Never forget that, okay? And then last thing real quick, we're out of here. Don't forget, in December, we are having our 2021 Strategic Planning Virtual Experience. There's a link here. It's FABizPlan, FABIZPLAN.com. And love to have you. Spend a couple days with me. And your 2021 plan is going to be probably one of the most important plans in the last several years, if not ever, because of what's going on in our world today. So do not go into next year winging it. We need to have a plan, okay? Thank you for listening and watching this episode of the Magellan Network Show. It's Coach Joe Lucas. Have a successful week. See you soon. So there you have it. If you really enjoyed watching this episode, go ahead and subscribe to the Magellan Network Show with Coach Joe here on YouTube. And remember, I'm always here to help you become a better entrepreneur, business owner, and financial advisor. With that, I'll see you next time on the Magellan Network Show with me, Coach Joe. Take care and goodbye.